Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. Today I'm going to give you guys my performance review on the New Balance Fresh Foam BBV3s. This is the successor to the BBV2s, which in my opinion was one of the best well-rounded shoes that I've tried last year, with the traction being very nice and grippy, cushioning one of the most comfortable yet still pretty responsive and bouncy at the same time. Materials looked quite premium, but they did look like a dad shoe at the end of the day in terms of the overall shape. Lockdown was pretty good, as well as the support being suspect a little bit when it comes to the huge stack height that you get on the shoe itself. So it was a very nice, well-rounded shoe, and they're going on sale right now for around $70. So if you guys are interested in that, I will leave links down below in the description. So now that these are out, these are retailing for $130 right now on Dick's Sporting Goods, as well as New Balance's website. So if you guys are interested, I will leave links to the BBV3s down below in the description box as well. Now for the fit of the shoe itself, with the V2s, I recommended to go down half a size. So I kind of carried over that same logic to the V3s, which is a good idea because going down a half size, you get pretty much a nice snug one-to-one fit, with the length of the shoe being nice and conformed, as well as the width being nice and snug around your foot as well. So when it comes to sizing, I would go down a half size for a one-to-one fit. Narrow footers should be fine going down half a size as well. For wide footers, you should be fine going true to size, maybe go up a half size just to be safe. So if you have the option to try them on in stores, feel free to do so if you need to go that extra half size up. So as far as sizing is concerned, going down a half size is the best option to get a overall nice one-to-one fit on your foot. The traction features a slightly decoupled translucent outsole with a continuous wavy traction pattern throughout the outsole itself. For the grip overall, it is really good when it comes to the grip. I got grip right out of the gate with these, so I didn't really have to break them in straight away. For lateral movements, they are very quick going side to side and didn't experience any sliding when it came to being really shifty going side to side. Vertical movements, however, I did experience some sliding when it came to hard stops. They do have some give when you try to stop on a dime, and there are times when it starts to slide under you and it might lead to a dangerous situation with a little bit of heel discomfort with what I've experienced. So that was a little bit of an issue when it came to hard stops. It isn't that great when it comes to hard stops. However, you do get a little bit of slip when it comes to push-offs, but they still feel pretty quick on your first step, so you're going to have a generally quick first step under you when it came to the vertical movements itself. So be mindful that hard stops you will suffer a little bit trying to stop on a dime. On dusty courts, it does pick up some dust. However, it is quite easy to wipe off, so as long as you keep up with your wipes and you wipe them down, you should be fine on a dusty setting. For durability, it is surprisingly durable too. I am not experiencing any fraying in the high-wear areas and throughout the outsole itself, so it's pretty durable when it comes to indoor use. Outdoor use, you should be fine too, because the grooves have decent depth to them and the rubber itself isn't really that pliable under you, so you should be fine playing in these outdoors. Indoors, you should be fine as well. So keep in mind that the grip is pretty good. Laterally, it is nice and grippy. However, for vertical movements, you will suffer a little bit. With dusty courts, as long as you wipe it down, you should be fine. And durability, indoors and outdoors, you should be fine as well. For cushioning, it's basically a carryover from the BBV2s, where you get a full-length dual-density Fresh Foam X midsole, with this white foam being the outside carrier, along with the internal midsole being this blue foam that you can visibly see here on the forefoot. As far as how it feels on the forefoot, they are very responsive and they are very springy too, which is quite surprising because you do get this bottom loaded plastic shank that you get here that's basically in the midfoot and extends as a leaflet into the forefoot. So you do get a nice springboard-like feel, so you're going to have a nice lively feel under your foot with a pretty responsive feel, as well with the responsive feel that you get from the Fresh Foam X itself. In the heel, it is as comfortable as the BBV2s in my opinion. Very forgiving in the heel, and you get a crazy amount of compression with how forgiving the foam is itself. And by far the best, in my opinion, when it comes to the overall impact protection. When it came to heel strikes, that were very forgiving and very solid when it came to the protection that you get overall. Fluidity, it is buttery smooth when it came to heel to toe transition. So with the overall forgiving feel that you get, as well as the overall softness that you get, it gives you a nice smooth heel to toe transition. And with the bottom loaded shank that you get, it gives it a nice snappy feel too. So when it comes to the transitions that you get up and down the court, it is a nice flowing ride with the overall lively feel that you get on top of it. So very responsive, really bouncy, and amazingly comfortable at the same time, making it one of the best cushioning setups that you can get right now, with the overall protection that you're going to get, the responsiveness that you're going to get, along with the nice bouncy feel that you get on top of it. Diving into the materials themselves, they look pretty plain when it comes to the overall build that you get. What you can see here in the forefoot is basically textile mesh panels that you get in the forefoot, and extends all the way into the lateral and medial side of the shoe, along with some synthetic leather overlays from the midfoot all the way into the heel, and it wraps around to the other side of the midfoot as well. The tongue is pretty basic when it comes to the mesh padding that you get throughout, but you do get some puffed padding on the top of the tongue, and it continues on into the ankle collar, where you do get this little bit of padding on the top with a extra layer of padding in the ankle collar, and it extends all the way into the heel as well. As far as how it feels on foot, they do feel good, but it did need a little bit of breaking time, especially here in the forefoot, where the material does bend on your foot, and it caused a little bit of irritation. After that, you do get enough flex to a point where it is pretty flexible on your foot. The padding on the tongue is quite nice and puffy on the top of the tongue, so I didn't experience any discomfort around the top of the foot, as well as zero lace irritation throughout the lace line itself, so it was pretty comfortable in the midfoot. And the same can be said around the ankle collar as well as in the heel, so it was pretty overall comfortable experience as long as you break it in, especially here in the forefoot. As far as aesthetics go, they are quite basic when it comes to the overall look of the shoe. To me, they kind of look like the Fresh Foam BBs, the first ones, when it comes to the overall material build that you get, but it is overall plain when it comes to the overall look of the shoe itself. So it looks pretty basic when it comes to the overall aesthetic appeal, which is okay at the end of the day. It's nothing crazy when it comes to the overall look of the shoe. If you don't want an overstated shoe, this is probably the best shoe for you. So at the end of the day, aesthetically, they are pretty basic. The materials are pretty basic as well. As long as you break it in, it's pretty comfortable on foot, especially in the midfoot onwards into the heel. As long as you break in the material in the forefoot, it is pretty nice and flexible at the end of the day. So at the overall expense of the cheapness of the materials themselves, they feel good after some breaking time, but it's nothing crazy aesthetically. Now for the lockdown, starting in the forefoot, because of the nice fit that you're going to get, it's basically conformed around your foot, so you won't experience any sliding when it comes to lateral movements or vertical movements from what I've experienced. So as long as you get the fit right in this shoe, it is pretty good as far as forefoot lockdown is concerned. Moving into the midfoot, you get a cuffed lacing system throughout the lace line itself, along with a extremely gusseted tongue, which basically looks like a one-piece booty construction tongue with how it extends all the way into the back half of the shoe. So it is nice and enveloping around your foot, and it gives it a nice cuffed-like feel when you tighten up the laces really tightly, which you can do in this. And you do get an extra eyelet in the back. That way it gives you an extra amount of containment in the midfoot. And if you want to enhance that lockdown even more in the midfoot, it helps a lot in the heel, which offers really good containment, even though it's not bad sculpted when it comes to the arch that you're going to get in the back half of the shoe. Aside from that, I only noticed a little bit of heel slippage when I was playing in it, and the more you break it in and the more used to the overall lockdown system that you get in the shoe, it is very good, and it gives it like a shrink wrap feel when it comes to the lockdown itself. So as long as you get the right size, forefoot lockdown is really good. The cuff lacing system, as long as the very gusseted tongue that you're going to get, gives you really nice shrink wrapped feel in the midfoot, and it enhances it even further when you go into the back half of the shoe with a nice amount of containment in the heel, which is surprising considering that it isn't really that sculpted. So all around, it is very good when it comes to the lockdown setup, and the forefoot all the way into the heel especially. And last but not least, when it comes to support, it has everything that it needs to be really good as far as the overall support is concerned, but it does have one noticeable flaw that I experienced as well in the BBV2s, which I will get to in a second. For the lateral support, the midsole is slightly arched, creating a little bit of an outrigger. However, you sit directly on top of the midsole, so the only containment that you're going to rely on is the material itself, which does have a little bit of give. So with the slightest angle, you are going to roll on these like crazy, which was what I experienced. So as long as you aren't in an uncomfortable angle, this will basically give on you pretty much, so there isn't a lot of containment, and the amount of forgiveness that you get from the midsole itself is basically going to cave in on you a lot more, essentially leading to rolling your ankle. So that was like the only issue that I had as far as the overall containment that you get as far as lateral support is concerned. As long as you don't land on somebody's foot, you're going to be fine. Just be mindful of that. However, as you continue into the midfoot, you do get this plastic arched shank, and it is on both sides of the shoe. That way it gives you really nice arch support, and it continues into the heel a little bit more, where you do get an internal heel counter with a little bit of a containment from the midsole itself to give you some nice containment in the heel. So as far as lateral support, the only issue that I have is the angled issue that you might experience when you try to land on someone's foot. It will lead to basically landing on an awkward angle, and it will cave in on you because of the forgiveness of the midsole itself. But aside from that, as you get further into the midfoot all the way into the heel, it does a pretty good job when it comes to lateral containment. For the torsional support, it is really good because of the bottom loaded shank that you get, as well as the arch shank that you get in the midfoot on both sides. It basically keeps the midfoot very nice and torsionally sound when it comes to the midfoot, but it does give you enough flexibility in the forefoot that way it doesn't feel too stiff. So contorting on it is pretty good, and you get an overall nice balance when it comes to the shoe itself. And because of the wide base that you get, and it is quite flat too, you're going to have a nice wide solid platform, giving you a nice solid platform to land on your own 2 feet. So as long as you land on your own 2 feet flat, it is very good when it comes to the base of the shoe itself. As long as you don't land on an awkward angle, you are going to be fine when it comes to the stability of the shoe. So at the end of the day, it has everything that you need to give it really nice support. Just because of the huge stack height that you get on the shoe, the slightest angle that you're going to get on them, it will eventually lead to rolling your ankle. So that is the only issue that I have experienced when it comes to the support of the shoe itself. So at the end of the day, the support has everything that you need, with the noticeable flaw with the stack height that you get on top of it. So to sum it up for you guys, the Fresh Foam BBV3s is a very solid shoe. When it comes to the traction, it does an overall pretty good job, aside from the vertical movements where it does suffer a little bit. Cushioning feels exactly like the BBV2s, but it has a little bit more springiness when it comes to the liveliness of the cushioning setup. Materials are a downgrade in my opinion when it comes to the build, with the BBV2s offering that premium like feel when it comes to the feel of the shoe, as well as the aesthetics of the shoe itself. Lockdown is very good, basically on par with the BBV2s in my opinion, and the support is along the lines of being the same when it comes to what it offers and the issues that it comes with especially. So in that case, I would probably go with the V2s in my opinion, because it does offer the same amount of feel, with the traction being a little bit more consistent. The cushioning gives you the same offering when it comes to the overall feel of it, how comfortable it is, and you do get the same amount of bounciness, but you do get a little bit more in the V3s. Materials are more premium in the V2s, and the lockdown and support pretty much toe-to-toe when it comes to the BBV3s, and it's almost half the cost of the BBV3s. So at that point, I would probably go with the V2s. But if you do want a little bit more of the springy feel when it comes to the cushioning, I would go with the V3s. But in terms of overall value, when it comes to everything that you get for the shoe itself, I would go with the V2s, because you do get a more premium feel with a little bit more consistency in the traction, the same feel of the cushioning, with the roughly the same amount of responsiveness when it comes to the cushioning setup especially, and the lockdown support are basically toe-to-toe with the V3. So if I were to choose between the V2 and the V3, I would go with the V2, specifically for the overall value that you're going to get for the shoe itself. Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been my performance review on the Fresh Foam BBV3s. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and comment down below on what you think of the BBV3s. Are they really good in your opinion? Are they as similar compared to the V2s? Which one would you prefer, the V3s over the V2s, or the V2s over the V3s? I'd like to know your thoughts on that, as well as any other questions that you might have. If you'd like to stay up to date with future videos that I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below. It'll greatly support the channel as well. And if you do want to see my review of the BBV2s, as well as the Fresh Foam BBs, the original version, I will leave that on the corners of the screen right here. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, all of that information will be in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys, and until next time, keep shooting.